Today we have the pleasure of hosting Shomik Chaudhuri, a distinguished author with over 3 decades of experience. Shomik's dedication to spirituality led him to represent the United Nations at the World Summit for Social Development in 1995, where he advocated for integrating spirituality into the global dialogue on social progress. His latest book, Some Whispers from Eternity, delves into the evolution of consciousness and the upliftment of humanity through the practice of Om Kriya Yoga. Today, we delve into his profound insights and experiences to unravel the mysteries of spirituality and human potential. Welcome to ITV Gold Studio, Shomik.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Of course, pleasure is all ours. And of course, we'll be learning so much about Om Kriya Yoga. I'm very excited to start with that. Explain first what is Kriya Yoga and how does the prefix Om come to existence with that?
Well, Kriya Yoga is actually, the practice of arousing the energies within yourself and raising our consciousness with the help of the energies. And becoming a better personality than you were before. And Om actually is the primordial sound that was created at the time of creation. So Om is something which pervades the entire cosmos, the entire creation. So Om Kriya Yoga is a method by which you invoke and arouse the energies of Om within yourself, and then uplift your consciousness with the help of the energy of Om.
So basically you're chanting Om throughout this meditation.
Well, actually you start with certain kriyas where you chant Om, you invoke the energies from the surrounding, and then you imbibe that energy within yourself, and then you focus and concentrate and meditate on that. And you don't have to chant Om, but the thing is, Om should go, simultaneously within yourself, and you meditate on that.
So you're speaking Om inside your mind?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's how you have to do it. So if you want, I can just explain a little bit about how the chanting is done. Om actually is A, U, Ma. But the and U, they come together to become O. And the way it has to be chanted is O has to be chanted 25% of the time, and Ma has to be chanted 75% of the time. So that's how you do it. It's something like this. Om. It is something like this.
I can feel the reverb and the echo.
Yeah, it is very powerful actually.
It's very powerful.
Yes. So that is something which you do.
What inspired you to delve into the realms of spirituality, particularly Kriya Yoga, alongside your career in journalism and media management?
Well, actually, spirituality was something which attracted me right from childhood days. When I was about 7, 8 years old, the games that we used to play with, my brother and sisters and our cousins was how long we can meditate.
Really?
Yes. And how long we can focus on one point, how long we can do it. So that was the kind of play that we used to do.
Who suggested this game?
No one suggested. It came automatically. My father was a very spiritual person, so we probably got inspiration from him. And my mother actually nurtured the entire desire that we had, that we should do this. So that is how it automatically generated within us. And over the years, actually, we had the blessing, I would say, of interacting and associating with God-realized saints who used to just come to our house, or we used to connect with them. Very strangely, it used to happen. I mean, it was not a coincidence. It was as if it was planned. It was a plan which certainly worked well with us. And over the years, I mean, throughout our childhood days, meditation and spirituality was something which we were very passionate about. So when sometime around when I was in college, and at that time I got the association of a very high saint who was who used to stay, without any kind of publicity or anything. He taught us Kriya Yoga for the first time, that is Kundalini Yoga, that is generating the energy within us and uplifting it to the brain. Slowly, it's called through the chakras, through Sushumna. You take it up to Sahasrar, which is the highest point in the chakra. And that is how we actually got initiated initially in Kriya Yoga. And then in 1999, my spiritual master, he came to my office, our office in News India Times, Desi Talk, where I used to work. And he actually initiated me into Om Kriya Yoga. He was actually a divine personality. I have never seen anyone who was so divine than him. He was an absolutely perfect person whom you can call a guru or a spiritual master or anyone. So from then, I have been practicing Om Kriya Yoga. And the fact is that, the reason why I want to share this is because an ordinary person like me, it has transformed me. This practice has transformed me. And I want that every person throughout the world should practice this and uplift themselves and become a better version of themselves. So that is why actually Mahavatar Kriya Babaji, who gave the initiation to my guru, Jagat Guru Ramanandacharya Rajiklochana ji. So he instructed my spiritual master that he desires this to be spread all over the world. And that is how probably the idea came, that when I have a media background, I have been writing in newspapers and all for over 20, 30 years, I might as well try and write a book about my experiences, about what I have learned and how it has transformed me, made me a better version of me. So that is something which I want to share with people all over the world, and I'm hoping that this book will do justice to that.
Absolutely. So this book, it also explains how to do this yoga?
Yes, this is for the first time. Om Kriya Yoga is the basic form of Kriya Yoga. It is not complicated. It's something which everyone can do. And I have explained from step 1 to the last step exactly how to do it, and people can follow it without any problems.
Wonderful. Also, is this connected to Paramhansa by any chance?
Well, actually speaking, we are from the same source.
Right.
Mahavatar Kriya Babaji, he initiated Lahiri Mahasaya, and through that lineage, Paramahansa Yogananda also got the Kriya Yoga initiation. So I also got initiation from my spiritual master, who got initiation from the same Mahavatar Kriya Babaji. So it's the same. It's similar, but that I think Yogananda ji's Kriya Yoga is much more detailed, and until and unless you dedicate yourself completely, it is difficult to follow that.
And this one is practical, which anyone can do.
Very simple, something which anyone can practice.
Wonderful. And when you talked about you reached the highest chakra through this yoga practice, what exactly do you mean by that?
Well, actually, I wouldn't say that I have reached the highest chakra. What I meant to say was that this is the process which happens. There are 114 chakras in our body, 2 of them outside the body and 112 inside our body. Outside that, there are 7 main chakras or energy centers which we have. And what happens is we all have tremendous amount of potential energy at the base of our spine called Kula Kundalini. So the process is by meditating, by focusing on a point in between the eyebrows, you can arouse this energy. And when this energy rises up your canal, which is a subtle canal that you have called Sushumna canal, so it starts, it helps the chakras to vibrate at a higher wavelength or a higher frequency. And it arouses raises your consciousness to a higher and higher level. And so as you go up through the spine, through the chakras, what happens is you become a better version of yourself, because initially our consciousness is at the basic level, which is a little better than the animal level. But this is the human life is the only way where you can flower help blossom or help flower this consciousness more and more towards divinity, because that is our source. We come from divinity, we are divine, and we have to realize that. And that is what it helps. It starts arousing your consciousness to higher and higher levels, while ultimately, when you reach the highest level, you realize that there is no difference between you and the Creator. And everything is in this creation is the Creator. There is no difference. In fact, I'll share with you one, I wouldn't say theory, but something which the quantum physicists have realized. It is called quantum entanglement. They are saying now that if a person speaks certain things on Earth, it will affect, or it will have some effect on the most distant stars in the cosmos.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So they are trying to say that everything appears to be one. And that is what our Advaita philosophy says, that everything is one, everything is the Creator or Brahman. Everything is an expression or a manifestation of Brahman. And that is something which you realize, when you go to the highest level.
So when you talk about the connection or some effect on the cosmos, is it through one person's yoga practice or spirituality, or is it collectively?
Well, actually, whatever we do, anyone, whatever we say, whatever we do, it has some effect on the cosmos. It's all interrelated, actually. Everything is interrelated, everything is energy, and ultimately it is consciousness. Everything emerges from consciousness, everything goes back to consciousness.
So are you saying that we are causing tsunamis or earthquakes or
No,
anything?
I wouldn't say that. What happens is these are certain natural things, cycles which are going on, and this will happen whether we like it or not. But if we give out good vibrations, if we, produce good vibes all around, then something better will happen. Of course, whatever we do, like, for example, if you go to a very high saint, you will feel very peaceful.
Right.
Or if you go to a temple or, a satsang or something, you feel very good. Why? Because the vibrations over there are very blissful. So that is what we have to create. Create as much good vibes as possible. And automatically, if you do this sadhana, which is meditation and all these things, whatever positive things you're doing, it will have an effect on you, not only yourself, but everything around you. So that was something which I talked about at the World Summit for Social Development in Copenhagen, 1995. I told them that if you're talking about social development, it has to start from the individual level. And for an individual to become more, I would say, productive for the world, for the betterment of the world, spiritual development is essential. Because that is the only thing which will rouse the divinity within us. And that is something which everyone has to practice and, improve within themselves. Bring it out and elevate yourself.
Your practice of Kriya Yoga spans over 4 decades. How has this ancient discipline influenced your understanding of consciousness and the human experience over the years?
Well, actually, Kriya Yoga, what it does is it arouses the divinity within you. And the more you practice, the more this divine energy and the divine consciousness starts arousing in you. And initially, we are all, our consciousness is at the animal level, eating, sleeping, whatever. So you have to raise the consciousness from there to the divine level, because that is our core. And the way you have to do is, these are time-tested methods which you can, adopt, whatever is good for you. In fact, Lord Shiva had shared with Mother Parvati many, many thousands of years ago about 112 systems of sadhana that is there, which people can follow, whichever one they are comfortable with. And he, Adi Yogi, he was the Adi Yogi, Lord Shiva. He shared it with the Sapta Rishis, the 7 Rishis. And from there, it came down to through the generations. And now, Mahavatar Kriya Babaji, actually, he reintroduced this as a Kriya Yoga, and that is something which, people follow. So basically, the thing is that if you practice this, you will automatically see that, your entire consciousness is elevating, and you tend to see everything from a different perspective, and you tend to be less affected by things that are happening around you, and you know that the good things will happen, the right things will happen, even if it means challenges. They would be you can accept them as lessons rather than disasters, and your entire perspective, your entire mentality, it changes. So that is something which develops with you slowly and surely.
So at this point of time, you have no desires left, earthly desires?
No, I wouldn't say that. I'm just a humble person, humble pilgrim. I wouldn't say I don't have desires, but I would say that what I was, say, 30 years back and what I am now, it is very different. That is all I would say.
But that's not growing up or age?
Not only that, it is much beyond that. Because you see, there are certain things internal which changes, It is not just age or maturity or whatever. It is something beyond that. It is something which, is very transformative. It changes you from within, and it gives you an entire different perspective on life and, what we are doing and everything. So I think it is much more than that.
As someone deeply involved in both spiritual and worldly affairs, how do you balance your spiritual practices with your professional responsibilities and engagements?
I'll bring in Bhagavad Gita over here. Lord Krishna asks Arjuna, do karma yoga, nishkam karma. That means you dedicate your everything to doing the work properly. So nishkam karma, don't look at the fruits, but look at the quality of work that you're doing. Then he says that you become a Gyan Yogi, learn as much as you can about all this stuff. Then you become a Dhyan Yogi. That means you meditate as much as possible to control your mind and everything. And then he says, become a Bhakti Yogi. So which means that with all these yogas that you practice, ultimately add bhakti to it. So when you do that, then you attain the perfection or the ultimate. So basically the way I would balance, or people could balance their daily lives, their professional life as well as the spiritual life, is to accept or work or do everything with a sense of devotion. Or for that matter, whatever you're doing, try to do to the best of your ability as if you're offering it to God.
Wow. Your work at the United Nations has involved advocating for the integration of spirituality into global initiatives for social development. How do you see spirituality influencing international relations and diplomacy in the 21st century?
I think it's the most important thing. We actually, I started talking about spirituality in the World Summit for Social Development in 1995. After I came to the US, I also co-founded an NGO committee on values, spirituality, values, and global concerns. And we talked about the importance of spirituality in the legislation of the United Nations in whatever they do. And United Nations actually accepted that. And now spirituality has become something common in the UN circle. So basically, our NGO, which I co-founded actually in India in 1996, we got special consultative status with ECOSOC of the United Nations in 2000. And I've been speaking at the high-level segment meetings in front of 180 ambassadors and all of different states and UN officials. And they have accepted all these recommendations that we put forward at the high-level segment meetings. So the core of that is that we need to inspire or help people elevate themselves spiritually, because without that, nothing is sustainable. If we are talking about Millennium Development Goals or Sustainable Development Goals, it can be sustainable only if people are different from inside. If they remain selfish, if they remain self-centered, and looking at their own, benefits, it can never work. It has to be, it has to include not only the whole humanity for that matter. Then only it will work.
True.
So that is something which we have put forward continuously at the UN, and our suggestions or recommendations have been accepted as part of the UN legislation. or recommendation. So that's how we are influencing the UN, and it's a long journey. But the thing is that at least we have done something to add this to the agenda.
There's a crop of spiritual leaders now. Everybody, every nook and corner, there'll be a spiritual leader. How much do you agree with the spiritual teachings of, say, Sadhguru or Ravi Shankar or Ramdev?
Let me put it this way. The whole world is in such a situation, in such a turmoil. Everyone is looking for some way out. They are unhappy, they are depressed, they have mental issues, they are sick, So they are all looking for some way out. So Indian spirituality is something which has helped people for millennia, thousands and thousands of years. So they are looking for some solutions. So these saints have come forward in their own way to put forward certain suggestions, certain ways in which they can better their lives. They can take care of their mental health, the way they interact with the world, accept life the way it is. So they have all come. So Sadhguru, Sri Ravi Shankar, all these people are doing a fantastic job, I would say. So they are bringing forth different ways in which people can improve themselves. So I really appreciate the work that they are doing. Everyone is trying in their own way to improve people's lives. So I think I appreciate that, and I am thankful to them for that.
Wonderful. What advice would you offer to individuals who are interested in embarking on a spiritual journey but feel overwhelmed or uncertain about where to begin?
Well, that is where I have mentioned in my book what you need to do, something very basic. You have to keep aside 10-15 minutes in a day. That is something which anyone can do, and start some practices from the beginning. You start slowly, and you just add it, increase it more and more, and that is where the transformation will come. It doesn't happen overnight, and there are a lot of sites which tell them, fast forward. I mean, you'll get this and this within no time, special this thing, and I don't believe that, because the reason being that spiritual development is not something which can be attained by a few courses or by special things or not. There are certain time-tested things. It has to take time. It has to happen over a certain period of time, a long time. But the thing is, the transformation is slow, but it's steady, and it's there for a long time. So I think you need to start slowly. Start with a little bit of meditation, little bit of pranayam, all these things, and maybe Om chanting and all. So you start with this slowly, and then you increase it as you can. And I think 10-15 minutes is something which everyone can spare.
Absolutely.
Throughout the day. Yes.
Is there something called a God frequency, or something, if you listen to it, or if you get your mind to that frequency, you can attain some kind of spirituality? Because I've seen videos, there is like a certain frequency number, and it just plays even when you're sleeping. When it is playing, you feel like a better person when you wake up.
Well, these are short-term issues. Something which I'm not sure how that works, because I have never tried, and I don't want to try it also, because that is something which is something just probably, even if it gives you that, it'll give you for a few seconds, probably,
maybe
or a few
you'll
minutes.
Sleep better.
Yeah, you'll sleep better. Probably it might. I don't know. But the thing is, if you try this every day for months on end, days on end, it'll automatically happen within you. You don't need an external aid to help you to sleep better, or you to feel better. And that is something which is sustainable. It'll be there throughout your life.
Wonderful.
And that is something which is essential, I think.
So before we wrap up, talk about where we can find this book, its availability.
Yes, actually, this book is now available on the publisher's website, which is bookstore.doranspublishing.com. It is also available on Amazon.com, and it is also available on various bookstores like Barnes & Nobles and other bookstores. You can get the book definitely from there.
So thank you so much, Shomik. We extend our gratitude to Shomik for sharing his wisdom and experiences with us today. Be sure to check out his latest book, Some Whispers from Eternity, for a profound exploration of spiritual evolution and the path to divine fulfillment. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, stay enlightened.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.